Greetings all, and here we are, week 10, and I think this will probably be the last video I give you. Roughly half of you have been watching these, so hopefully half of you got some help from them. Anyhow, I want to just go over the final project submission. It's due Wednesday midnight. You'll want to finish your responses by Friday at midnight, and then get those to me by Monday, and I should have a pretty quick, I hope, turnaround for any revisions that might be doing. I may be able to give you a full week until the sorry, the 17th and the 18th are work days for me, so I may extend the final revisions to that point. As a reminder, just in case I wasn't clear, I don't know if I was clear about this, those of you who I asked to do any revisions for the literature review, for the works cited aspects in particular, just do a proper job of that in the final project, and I will kind of just backtrack and upgrade those grades for you. And probably if there was problems with your literature reviews, a few of you had some of those, I'll look at your overall literature review here, and if it seems appropriate, I'll go back and rescore your various segments from that section in the annotated bibliography literature review bit. So. Okay, so there's that. So you're going to get 300 points for this draft, another 200 for the final. Some of the lower scored aspects are for just kind of revising the old material from your project proposal and the literature review, and then the kind of the new aspects, the discussion, the areas for further study, that sort of thing. You'll get a few more points there. You'll also get, it is 50 points for each response. So do a good job with those, and make sure you hit on all the major points, and you'll be good in that regard. So a quick overview of the assignment itself, what I'm looking for. So the introductory material, I mentioned the abstract. That'll be basically something you do at the end. After you've written up everything, a couple hundred words, overview, summary kind of thing. We bring our summary skills back from early on. And I think, you know, if you pay attention to the news and you've seen what trouble summaries can cause people, our Attorney General and the special counsel and all that kind of stuff, you can see the importance of good summaries there, and in minimizing, I guess, variations on understanding. So that kind of thing matters. So after your abstract, you know, here's where we take the problem statement and the importance of the problem. We roll that all together into an introductory material, background material. You're establishing the context for the discussion, for the research, that sort of thing. So think background, think context. The exigence, which is the imperfection in search of a solution, is one of the rhetorical terms that we apply to this. So, you know, what's the problem? Why does it matter? This is where, as I indicated, you'll want to put a human face on it as much as you can. This is where some of the newspaper sources are better used, as opposed to providing your solid, more authoritative evidence in the body of the essay and the discussion and such. So what's the problem? Why does it matter? You may address some of the assumptions. I don't really expect you have to address the research methodology kind of thing at that point, but what's the problem? Why does it matter? What are some of the assumptions you're working with? That's a good kind of material to include at that stage of the essay. And I would say you could easily, hopefully, fill a good page, maybe a little bit more as you're typing this up, double space and all that kind of stuff. So from there, you want to provide the literature review, and this can be, I provided in the assignment itself an example from an essay that you didn't read, where we open with the author's name, we provide the author's title or the essay's title, and then a quick summary of it, and some mention of why this is an important piece of information, maybe even a quote. You could save the quote for the discussion area, that kind of thing, or you could use it here. It doesn't really matter. You'll have to figure out where does it work best, where does it help make your point and help shed light on the discussion. So you're going to have at least 10 sources there. I don't really have any word count. Most of you did pretty good jobs, and so you're going to use the bulk of your annotation, annotated bibliography / summary discussion material from that previous assignment, and pretty much smooth it out, create a sense of flow with it, break it into 3, 4, I don't know how many paragraphs. Just don't have these summary paragraphs go much more than a half a page when you type it up, just because visually that's a lot for the eye and brain to take on in a one chunk. Even the exact same words breaking into a few paragraphs are easier to read, quicker to read than is one big massive chunk of text. So do that. So anyway, so we've got your problem statement, all that kind of thing. We've got your literature review, and this is where you then, after that, start doing basically some new work here. This is where you get to share your take on the research you did by evaluating the context and everything and looking at it. So this is where you do analysis, where you break the various arguments down, the various points of discussion down, present the evidence for a particular perspective, and maybe present the evidence for a contrary perspective. I mean, there's going to be tension here, so that's why you'll have information that may seem to contradict. That's what learning this stuff is all about. So here you will, it will be perfectly okay. Let's just say, for instance, one of you is writing about what I've seen to be called co-housing. There's a number of co-housing units here in the Spokane area, and it's a movement around the country to reinvigorate kind of urban life or city life with little neighborhoods within neighborhoods, clusters of houses around a central green space or something like that. Anyway, you may find 2, 3, maybe 4 sources saying the exact same thing. And so if you want to, say, write about the emotional, social, psychological benefits to retirees who are otherwise in danger of being isolated in their community, and then you have 4 sources mentioning it, well, you can provide a bit of material from each of those 4 sources at that one point, and then synthesize them, tie them together, and show why it's a good thing or why it's being oversold or what have you. So it's not just that you're allowed. I think often in an academic paper, student kind of length papers, we use one source and move on to the next point. If you have 2, 3, 4 sources saying the exact same thing, you can either, if they all have good quotes, you can provide those good quotes, or you can paraphrase them all and have a citation that includes 4 sources. If somebody, maybe I'll put together something like that for you just to show how that might look. So, it's not like you have to stretch out your use of these sources. If you have people saying the same thing, that's usually a good thing. And similarly, when you get around to, different takes on it or alternative takes, what have you, you don't have to rely just on a single source. There may be more than one source telling you about that kind of stuff. So see where the discussion goes. You're going to do analysis. You're going to do synthesis. We're going to have to, basically, this is where you get to discuss the issue. You're doing it on paper, but sort of imagine you're talking to somebody about this and you're saying, well, this is the cool thing about it, and well, here's one of the problems with it, but there's this other cool thing, and see how's the best way to organize that material and see how that goes. So we're we're going to mention, so somehow in this, I hate it when the screen goes dark. That means I've been doing this for 10 minutes, which means I need to get over this quickly. But look at the research questions. We'll set this up. What did you discover in digging into those research questions? What kind of answers did you get? What kind of contradictory answers? Look at that kind of thing. So just go through it and get there. Do make sure you're catching both sides of the issue. In the scoring section, it says provide at least one substantive paragraph addressing problems with your perspective or the perspective. So that's adapted not too well from when this was more of a traditional Aristotelian argument and the opposition view kind of stuff. So, but bring in all the information that validates one perspective, the information that validates another perspective, and see what you come up with. It's a good idea. In the conclusion, I think in one place I provide a conclusion and say, look at this, and others I say this could be a different section, but what are the areas for further study? What else do you need to continue looking into? As the papers we read early on indicated, we are not going to completely, wholly answer anything. I think in one person's annotated bibliography, literature review, they wrote that some particular source proves something, and really we don't get to prove anything with these kinds of papers, and most of the people, most of the sources we're going to read really don't prove much of anything. And in fact, with most of the things everybody's been writing about, I don't think we can prove much of anything one way or the other beyond there's a need to look into these things and understand them better. So in the end, so your conclusion can be, here's what we need to do next, that kind of thing. So look at the material on this page. And so if you have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to help. I haven't heard much from anybody except about emergency kind of stuff. So do what you can, take care of yourselves. The end is nigh, but in a good way, and the weather's gotten better for us as well. And so let me know how I can help you, because that's why I'm here. So thanks, and have a good week, and take care, and get your work done, and get in touch with any questions. Bye-bye.